Hey everybody, Unstable Gamer here, and welcome back to Disney Mirrorverse. In this video, we have a brand new tier list for you with the massive update that happened, and it being January 2021. It is time to refresh this tier list. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about. But first, before we do, if you're just now finding this channel and you want to stay up to date with this and other games, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out. All right, and welcome back. Just a quick reminder, all the links to my social media are in the description below, so definitely check us out there. All right, so let's take a look at this tier list. I did do a tier list several months ago on the old game with the last update, with the major update that just happened in December. The game changed, characters changed a little bit, and it's time to refresh this list because the way that you can control these characters are much different than you could control them before. I think the game's much more exciting, and since you can control the individual characters, you can swap between characters, it changed the game mechanics and it changed how these characters play. So it's definitely worth taking a look at and redoing this tier list. Now, we will, as we have new characters come to the game, we will continue to refresh this list every month. I am not a infographics guru or anything. I do Excel spreadsheets. Those of you who have seen any of my other videos, tier lists, things like that, it is mainly Excel spreadsheets. That last one I did, actually, I give credit to a few people who helped put that together and created that infographic, which was pretty cool. Maybe I can get one created for this. We'll see. All right, so let's go ahead and just break this down real quick. We do have a small roster of 11 characters, and we have broken them out into A, B, C, and D. I'm going to name these tiers a little bit differently as this list continues to grow. But that's where I have them right now. One thing that I will say is I will not have anybody in an S tier or a God tier right now. And the reason for that is because the game is still very new, right fresh out of this massive update. Also, it is beta, so a lot of changes happen. So to try and declare that, I want to stay away from that for right now. So we're just going to go with a standard A, B, C, D tier for right now. I'll come up with names a little bit later. If you want to help me name them, go ahead and leave some suggestions down in the comment section below. That'd be awesome. All right, so let's take a look at this. Disclaimer here, really quick. This is my opinion. This is based off experiences that I have with each one of these characters in the game. I have every single one of these characters to at least a rank 3. One of them, which is Mulan, is at a rank 4. Everybody is anywhere from level 20 to level 32 right now. I'm continuing to work on these characters, but this is just my thoughts, my opinions, my experiences based on what I have seen in the game and how useful they have been to me. I know that tier lists and things like that tend to drum up quite a bit of conversation. I love that. I love hearing other people's opinions and thoughts and who their favorite characters are. Definitely leave comments in the section below on your thoughts on this video as well. These are my thoughts and my experiences. All right, so let's take a look at this. D tier, that's just the tier of, these are the last ones that I want to level up. These ones don't really do much for me. So right now, Sully is one of 3 tanks right now. And the reason why I have him down at the bottom is just because I don't use him very often. I'm leveling him up last. He has some interesting mechanics. He is more, I think you could probably use him more as an offensive tank than you would an actual tank. He does have a mechanic where when he uses his special, he builds up a armor shield. So when you build up armor, that's the additional bar above your character that you have to chew through before you get to the health. So he can do that based on the number of mobs that are around him or enemies that are around him. The more that are around him, the more of an armor buff he will get. However, when you're playing this, I don't find that too useful right now. There's a lot of one-on-one. You also take down enemies fairly quickly. So unless you're really in a very, very tough battle that's going to last for quite a while and you've just got a ton of mobs around you, I just don't find it as useful. You have to find yourself in the right position. We'll go over why I have Oogie Boogie just up a little bit more. Scar, I think Scar's pretty good. He does wound, which is a bleed, but there's just not much else there. His damage is okay. The bleed is okay, but again, in the game, we tend to take out the enemies pretty quick, so the bleed really doesn't have much of an effect. All right, C tier, we have Rapunzel, Buzz Lightyear, and Oogie Boogie. So the reason why I have Oogie Boogie up above Sully is because Sully has to be in the right position in order to get that buff, that armor buff. He's got to have more enemies around him, use his special. Oogie Boogie's special, sends bugs out and seeks out all the enemies on the screen and reduces their attack. So I think just with that alone helps. Now, he does need some help. He does need to be paired with someone who helps with defense and armor because he just doesn't have a lot. But I like the attack debuff that he has. I like the knockback that he has. And he's just very good. He's one that I really wanted up higher. I've seen other people's tier lists, and they had Baymax at the top of the list, like I do here. And I really wanted to bump Baymax down, but I couldn't. I wanted Oogie Boogie to be there, but I just couldn't. Oogie Boogie fell in the C tier for me. Buzz Lightyear is a decent ranged character. One good thing about him is he does deplete a defense or the armor bar of your enemies. So that's good when you're going up against heavy health pool enemies with those shields. So you can go ahead and burn those down because I think it says that it takes down like 100% of that shield. So you can chew right through the health right away. So he is useful in that way. However, again, at least where we are in the state of the game right now, it's not as useful as some other characters. Rapunzel, I think, is fairly decent. She has some mechanics where if you pull off a full combo of 4 hits, then she gets an attack buff. Also, I think it's once every turn or somewhere in there. If she's below a certain percentage health, she heals herself. And she doesn't have as much utility for me as like Mulan does, as we'll talk about here in just a minute. So Rapunzel finds herself in the C tier. Now, when we come to the B tier, we have Maleficent. I like Maleficent. Her special hits everybody on the screen. Everybody that you hit and that she gives a debuff to, if you hit with the special, will get a burn as well, which I think is absolutely great. You just got to make sure you hit everybody or at least hit your target. Make sure that debuff is on there. Then when you do that special, you'll get that burn. I don't have her up in the A tier just yet, just because I think as far as a ranged character goes and how much I'm using her usefulness in the game, it's not up there with like Merida. So, but she's great. I think she's good to invest in if that's who you have. I think when you take a look at this tier list too, you need to take a look at what star levels do you have everybody at, and who's going to benefit you the most. So, like in this instance, if you have Maleficent at a higher star level than Merida by a couple stars, then it may be more beneficial to level up Maleficent until you can get a higher star level Merida. So, next we got Jack Sparrow and Belle. Now, those two are like neck and neck for me. Belle pulls ahead just as more of a general healer. We'll talk about her in just a second. But Jack Sparrow, the reason why I have them pretty much neck and neck, and I will swap them out with the end game content that's currently in the game right now, tower and things like that, based on the end enemy and if that battle is going to result in a bunch of debuffs. Because the more debuffs you have on your team, Jack will cleanse, and that will increase the strength of his heals. Now, his is a direct heal right off the bat. Belle has a heal over time. One cool thing I like about Belle and why I use her more is at the start of the encounter, she gives a defense buff to the entire team. So that's great, especially when you have Oogie Boogie there who needs a defense buff. And other characters on the game, that defense is always good to reduce the amount of damage that comes in. So Belle does a fantastic job with that. I like her heal over time. Also, if she happens to heal and one of your characters is already full health, then they'll get an additional buff off that. I can't remember exactly if it's an armor buff or a defense buff, but they will get an additional buff there, which is absolutely fantastic and just helps strengthen that team. So that is the B tier. Now, when it comes to the A tier, these are the best characters in the game currently. Who knows if that's going to change? I'm assuming as beta continues to evolve, we get new characters in the game, things are going to change, right? Which is why definitely take these tier lists with a grain of salt, because things move and change quite often in a soft launch or beta game. So, all right, so A tier, Mulan, best damage dealer in the game. One thing I like about her so much is that she gives herself a defense buff. She also hits multiple enemies, and she has talents that gives you benefits by just your attacks hitting multiple enemies. She does a ton of damage. You just see those health bars melt, which is absolutely awesome. She is a fantastic melee, the best in the game. If you have her, definitely invest in her. She's definitely worth it. Merida, I love Merida. If you haven't seen my video on her, I'll go ahead and link it up right over here. She's fantastic. I have her at a 5-star. Best thing about Merida is really getting her crit up there. The more crits that she does, the more damage she does. When her special does a crit, it's an AoE crit, which is absolutely awesome as well. She's great. You can get 100% crits by waiting for the Wisp focus buff. That'll help out quite a bit. And again, the more crits that you do off of her special, the more damage her crits do throughout the rest of that encounter. So it's just great overall character, does massive damage. You pair her up with Mulan, and you're running through everybody. And then Baymax. Again, I wanted Baymax lower. I wanted Oogie Boogie there because I love Nightmare Before Christmas. Baymax is just fantastic and great. He has a defense buff. He gives an armor buff when he does his special and you're inside that aura there. When he does his special and enemies are inside of the aura, you can get an attack debuff. It also stuns, which is absolutely great. And it works well when you pair him up with Merida and or Mulan, because typically you'll have a healer in there. But if you stun everybody within that circle and you get Merida's crit off and they're close enough and they're not moving, boom, then that's going to do an AoE crit right there. You got Mulan in there as well. Everybody's stunned. You're hitting multiple enemies constantly with her special and her basic. It's just, he is fantastic. And I've been able to get, using the Baymax, Merida, and Belle combo, that team has got me up to floor, I think it's 18. I think I'm on floor 18 in the tower, and has done fantastic. Oogie Boogie took me up half the way, and then I had to switch out for Baymax and work on him and climbing the rest of the tower. Fantastic tank, best in the game, and definitely worth investing in, at least right now. Now, again, as new characters come into the game, I will update this list. I will put this out monthly to keep everybody up to date on my thoughts and my experiences with the different characters in the game. But there you go, everybody. That's what I had for you today. A not so quick video on the best characters in the game and where everybody falls as far as some sort of tier list right now. Very interested in your thoughts on this list. Who's your favorite team right now? And who is your absolute favorite character in this game so far? All right, everybody, as always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and share your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.